It is 1:47 on a Sunday in Columbus, Ohio. The bar is called Murphy's, and the bar is full, and the bar is loud, and you are sitting on a wooden stool that has been sat on by 10,000 men before you, and the man next to you is Colin Reeves, 35 years old, and Colin Reeves has just ordered his second cup of coffee. Not a beer, coffee. The Cincinnati Bengals are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers on the 4 screens above the bar. The score is 14 20s of a 100-yard field. And when, later that evening, Ohio State wins 31-16, Marcus will run down the hallway of Drackett Tower screaming, and Colin will run behind him screaming too. And the difference between them, the difference that will become a chasm 13 years later, is that Marcus is screaming because something inside him is full. And Colin is screaming because something inside him is empty, and he is afraid of the silence. This is the start. 2 boys, same room, same game, same scream. 2 completely different futures. You do not know it yet. Neither does Colin. Neither does Marcus. 87% of men aged 18 to 29 in the state of Ohio report following at least one professional or college sport closely. That is a Pew Research Center number from their 2023 study on American spectator culture. 87%. In a state of nearly 12 million people, that is something close to a religion. In a dorm of 200 boys, that is 174 boys cheering, and 26 boys lying about cheering, and 0 boys saying out loud, "This is not for me." Colin is one of the 26. He just does not know it. Now you move forward. The clock skips. It is 2014. Colin is 24. He has graduated. He is working at a marketing firm in downtown Columbus called Brennan & Pace on the 11th floor of a building on High Street, and his desk faces a window that looks out at a parking garage. The marketing firm has a Monday morning ritual. The ritual is called the locker room. Every Monday at 9:15, the men of Brennan & Pace gather in the kitchen and they discuss the weekend's games for 45 minutes, and they do not discuss anything else. If you do not have an opinion on the weekend's games, you are not in the locker room. If you are not in the locker room, you are not promoted. There is no rule about this. There is no policy. There is only the fact that the senior partner, a man named Donald Brennan, 61 years old, with a framed Woody Hayes photograph on his office wall, decides who gets the new accounts. And Donald Brennan decides on Monday morning, in the kitchen, between 9:15 and 10. Colin learns this in his second week. Colin learns this by watching a young woman named Priya Shankar, brilliant, top of her class at Columbia, hired the same week Colin was, try to talk about the campaign she had been working on all weekend, and watch Donald Brennan's eyes glaze over, and watch Donald Brennan turn to a man named Greg, an account executive who had said exactly 6 intelligent things in 2 years, and ask Greg what Greg thought about the Ohio State defense. Priya leaves Brennan & Pace within a year. Greg becomes a partner. Colin watches this happen. Colin understands. Colin starts reading the sports page on Sunday night. Colin starts watching the highlights. Colin starts memorizing the names of quarterbacks he has never seen play. He buys a jersey. The jersey costs $179. It has the name Manning on the back, the number 10, the New York Giants, because his college girlfriend was from New Jersey and her father was a Giants fan, and Colin met him once and the man scared him, and Colin thinks the jersey will be a kind of armor, will allow him to walk into any room in this country and find a friend. This is level 2. This is the illusion. This is the moment when the lie starts to pay. You buy the jersey. You wear it the next Monday, not at work, but to a bar with the men from Brennan & Pace on Monday Night Football. Donald Brennan is there. Donald Brennan looks at the jersey. Donald Brennan does not say anything for 10 seconds. And then Donald Brennan smiles and says, "Manning, good man, good family. You watched the game last week?" And Colin, who has watched approximately 11 minutes of the game last week, who has read a recap on his phone in the bathroom that morning, says, "Yeah, tough loss. Defense couldn't get off the field on 3rd down. Well, whatever works. I did not know yet that the bill was running. I thought I was getting things for free. 47%. I do not like it. I have never liked it. I have spent 13 years of my life pretending to love a thing I do not love in order to be liked by people I do not like. In a job I took because the money was good and stayed in because I was afraid to leave. Because I never liked it. Other. I am 31 years old and I am tired. Colin? You watch? I didn't, Dawn. I'm out. I haven't really cared in a long time. The kitchen goes quiet. Greg looks at his coffee. Donald Brennan blinks twice. There is a moment, perhaps 2 seconds long, in which the entire architecture of Colin's career hangs in the air like a dropped plate that has not yet hit the floor. And then Donald Brennan shrugs. And Donald Brennan says, "Huh. Fair enough." And Donald Brennan turns to the next man, and the conversation moves on. That is it. That is the entire confrontation. The thing Colin had feared for 13 years, the social annihilation, the loss of the room, the moment of being seen as not one of us, happens, and it lasts 2 seconds, and nobody dies. Greg looks at him a little differently for a week. Donald Brennan stops including him in the locker room and starts asking him about the actual work, which, it turns out, Colin is much better at than Greg ever was. 6 months later, Colin is promoted again. The promotion has nothing to do with sports, and Colin grieves. He grieves for a version of himself he had been carrying, a version that had cost him 4,576 hours and $11,400 and a trip to Portugal he still has not taken. He grieves for the 13 years. He grieves the way you grieve a friendship you should have ended in college. The kind of grief that has relief inside it, like a stone inside a fruit. And underneath the grief, surprising him, is a lightness. The first Sunday after the cancellation, Colin makes coffee and sits at his window with a book by Marilynne Robinson and reads for 4 hours without checking his phone. It is the longest he has read in one sitting since he was 20. Marcus, meanwhile, is still in his living room. Marcus is screaming at the television. Marcus is alone now. His wife left him in 2022, citing, in the divorce filing, the season tickets and the fantasy league, and the fact that he had not been emotionally present in the marriage for 3 years. Marcus does not connect the divorce to the tickets. Marcus thinks the divorce is a tragedy that happened to him. Marcus, on the Sunday Colin is reading Marilynne Robinson, is watching the Browns lose to the Steelers 28-10, and Marcus is crying, and the crying has nothing to do with the score. But Marcus has not yet learned how to cry about the actual thing. Colin sees Marcus 3 times in the next 2 years. Each time, Colin tries to tell him, gently, what he found on the legal pad. Each time, Marcus changes the subject. Marcus is not ready. Marcus may never be ready. This is the shape of the parallel path. Not every man who walks into the small, well-lit room walks out. This is level 7. This is the truth. You are sitting on the bar stool at Murphy's. The Bengals have won. The bar is emptying. Colin pays for both coffees. The two of you walk out together onto High Street. It is cold. It is the first warm Sunday after a long winter, but Ohio in March is still cold. You stand on the sidewalk. Colin is 40 pounds lighter than he was in the photograph he showed you from 2019. Not because of a diet, he says, but because the body knows when you stop carrying things you should not be carrying. You ask him what he wants people to take from his story. Colin thinks for a long time. A bus passes. A woman walks by with a small dog. Colin says, finally, I want the other 26 guys in the dorm to know they are not the 1 in 100. I want them to know the number is 47. I want them to know that the loudest people in the room are not the room. I want them to know that disinterest is not a defect. It is a kind of honesty. And the cost of pretending will keep going up until you cannot afford it. Here is what I did not know then. I am Wes Calder. I am 38 years old. I have spent 6 months of my life in bars I did not want to be in, only one. They were the half. The data has been on the Gallup website since 2014. Pew published the breakdown in 2023. The numbers were always there. The men were just too embarrassed to look. The lesson is not that sports are bad. 47 is not all of us. 53% of this country watches and loves and lives inside this thing, and most of them are honest about it, and most of them are happy. And Marcus Hale is not a villain. Marcus is a man who found a real religion and is paying a real price for it, and that is his to pay. The lesson is for the other 47. The lesson is for you. If you are sitting in a room right now, in a jersey that is not yours, watching a game you do not love, because 13 years ago someone told you that the only way to be in the room was to lie. The lesson is that the room is bigger than you think. The lesson is that the door is unlocked. The lesson is that the math, when you finally do it, is always worse than you feared, and the truth, when you finally say it, is always lighter than you imagined. You are not broken. You are just not lying anymore. That is the sentence Colin and I say to each other when we part on the sidewalk outside Murphy's. He says it first. I say it back. It is the sentence that has been waiting at the end of every interview I have done for this series. It is the sentence I did not know I was looking for when I started. Next week, on this channel, we are going to talk to a man named Devin, 41 years old, who quit drinking on a Tuesday in September of last year. Not because he had a problem, but because he realized he had never actually liked the taste of beer. Devin's story is Colin's story in a different language. Devin's story is the story of every man who has ever realized that the appetite he had been performing was not his appetite at all. We will sit with Devin in a coffee shop in Pittsburgh. We will count the cans. We will count the years. We will get to the sentence at the end. If you are watching this video and you recognize yourself in Colin, if you have a jersey in your closet you bought to be liked, if you have a Sunday afternoon that does not belong to you, if you have a sentence inside you that you have not said in 13 years, then know this: the number is 47%. You are not the one. You are the half. The room is bigger than the loudest voice in it. The math is always done in the end. And the truth, when you say it, costs you 2 seconds and gives you back the rest of your life. It is 1:47 on a Sunday in Columbus, Ohio, and for the first time in 13 years, you are exactly where you want to be.